The Sahel has been in the news, but in order to understand the Sahel, we must go back to the year 1958, when Charles de Gaulle governed France. And when Charles de Gaulle and his administration took the decision that their former colonies would be granted independence and asked that they vote no or yes. Yes, to mean that you would regain something called independence, but you would remain under France. No, to mean that the French would run away. Only two countries voted no: Algeria under Ahmed Ben Bella and Guinea under Ahmed Sékou Touré. The rest of the countries remained under the tutelage of France and have remained so, controlled politically and economically, including their currency, the CFA franc. So that recently, in the 21st century, when young men in the military took the decision that they would change things, it was something that shocked the French and shocked the world. Shocked the French because they said, we are now gaining our independence. What we had was not independence. And I listened so very keenly to Doumbouya in Guinea-Conakry. I listened very keenly to Aïta in Niger. I listened very keenly to Traoré in Burkina Faso, and their message was clear. There are those who said within ECOWAS that Mali must not, when we talked about Mali at that time, they said Mali must be expelled from ECOWAS. And they came and they warned that they were going to attack Mali, but the Malians said, no, we are going to protect our newly acquired independence. The same message came from Guinea, the same message came from Niger, the same message came from Burkina Faso, and there is now unanimity within the Sahel that the time is now to redefine their relationship with France particularly. Let us understand why that redefinition of relationship is important. It is important at two levels: at the political level and at the economic level. We start with Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is a country that was formerly known as Upper Volta. When via coup d'etat, Thomas Isidore Sankara took power in 1983, he said we must rename our country. And he renamed the country Burkina Faso. And he renamed the people the Burkinabe, the country of upright men. And he said that the time has come that we must be totally liberated from France. France has controlled how we conduct our politics. France has controlled what we sell and what we buy. France controls our money. France controls our everything. And he redefined everything. And within 5 years, we now know that Thomas Sankara and Burkina Faso as a country were liberating themselves and were capable of feeding themselves. He said we must take charge of our gold, we must take charge of our uranium. But within 5 years, in 1987, they had induced Blaise Compaoré to assassinate him. And this is always important to remember. When Isidore Sankara was told that you are going to be assassinated and the possible assassin is Blaise Compaoré, he said, Blaise is my friend. If it is Blaise whom they have hired to kill me, then I will not survive. And he did not survive. France controls the Sahel because of our resources. Then, of course, Niger. Niger is a country that is known for her uranium. Niger is a country that is known for our resources, and we know for a fact that even some of the nuclear tests that have been undertaken by the French have been undertaken in the deserts of the Sahel region. We know that that particular area is rich in all manner of resources, and the Nigerians took the decision that we are going to change this. When the coup happened, one of the things that was most frustrating was that a decision was taken that Niger must be treated differently, and people don't understand why ECOWAS reacted in the manner that it did. It was uranium. It was the uranium that is not only used in France, but is used in different parts of the world for nuclear facilities. And Niger sits upon uranium that has value that is inestimable. And the idea to ensure that Niger was ostracized from the ECOWAS community was at the behest of the French. And it is important that the Sahelians have taken the vow that they are going to protect Niger. Outside of Niger, we are also aware that the Malian regime with Assimi Goïta, who is the current president, have taken the decision that they are going to ensure that Mali, even with the sponsored insurgency, is going to remain a country that is independent. And it is not lost on me that Mali is the home of one of the most important freedom fighters in Africa, Modibo Keïta. So the spirit of Modibo Keïta is now resurgent in Assimi Goïta, and we can see that that particular country is also moving in the direction of ensuring that they are liberated from French domination. And once again, we know that Mali is a country that has a long history with Sondiata Keita, with Mansa Musa, and the Niger River flows there and supplies oil. And in the areas such as Timbuktu in northern Mali, we know that there are major resources. The same with Guinea-Conakry, which may not be described as being specifically in the Sahel, but is one of the countries that is supporting the activities that are going on in the Sahel to the extent that they are redefining how Europe, particularly France, relates with Africa. Which begs the question, what is new in Sahel? What is happening in the Sahel that is new? Is it a revival of Pan-African spirit? Is it something that is going to change the complexion of that region and by extension change the complexion of the world? Commentators are now saying that while many are quick to characterize the changes in the Sahel as coup d'etats, and therefore against the African Union declaration that Africa will not entertain non-unconstitutional changes of power, Pan-Africanists and those who know how France is operating and has operated say these are not coup d'etats, these are revolutions. They are revolutions because it has become obvious that those who are lackeys of France in the Sahelian region were manipulating the electoral process, were using institutions such as the judiciary for purposes of perpetuating the French agenda. And that these young men from the military came out and said, no, when the people cannot do it through traditional revolution, we are going to do it through the barrel of the gun and use the institution of the military to change the equation. And they have changed the equation. How have they changed the equation? First, they are saying we are cutting political ties with Paris. Secondly, we are cutting economic ties with Paris. We are getting out of any organization which is led by France. We are cutting off the situation that compels us to use currency that is printed in France. We are ensuring that our resources are going to be refined, and they are entering into arrangements with a number of countries, including Russia and China, to begin to build institutions and installations that are going to refine their uranium, refine their gold, so that there is value addition. What is happening in the Sahelian region is, in my submission and in the view of many independent commentators, the beginning of the total liberation not only of those countries but the former French colonies. And it is not lost on me that the leaders of those countries are sending a very clear message. They are sending the message that any institution which makes the claim that is a Pan-African institution but is being controlled from outside will be defied. I remember that day, the day after the coup d'etat in Niger, and I remember the meetings that were held in Accra, Ghana, the meetings that were held in Abuja, Nigeria, the meetings that gave a 72-hour ultimatum to Niger and said, we are going to invade you, not in so many words, but we are not going to allow you. I remember the sanctions that were imposed upon Niger. And I remember all the three leaders, Traoré in Burkina, and I remember the new leaders in Niger. I remember the leaders in Mali saying, we are now entering into a military pact. You attack Niger, you have attacked Mali, you attack Burkina, you have attacked Mali, and you have attacked Niger, and of course, even Doumbouya in Guinea-Conakry said, we will join you. That is a new face. It is a face that was not contemplated, and the Sahelian revolution, because it is a revolution, is beginning to redefine how former French colonies are relating with France at the critical levels, including the area of trade, including control of their militaries, including control of their language. And it is not lost on me that in Mali, they have actually declared that French is no longer the national language. Bambara is now the national language. It is a clear statement that they are beginning to regain their independence, and they are doing it in a manner that was not anticipated and in a manner that was not contemplated. It begs the question, will the men in uniform continue to be in power until kingdom come? No. They have said in Burkina, they have said in Niger, they have said in Mali, they have said in Guinea-Conakry, we are midwives. We have come here for a short time to clean up the mess that has been with us. We have come here to clean up the mess that the French have always created. We have come here to ensure that the insurgency, which is sponsored by the French in Burkina Faso, which is sponsored by them in Mali, which is sponsored by them in Niger, which is sponsored by them in Guinea-Conakry, that this insurgency will eliminate it and will introduce a new system of governance which will allow the peoples of our country to participate in their governance without being controlled from Paris. They are saying that we have been puppets for too long. We are now regaining our independence, and this revolution is a revolution which is unique, is a revolution which is being defined and refined by young Africans whose agenda is the spirit of Pan-Africanism. The Sahelian revolution is a revolution which will change the continent of Africa and redefine Africa's relationship with the former colonizers. Our conversation has been about the Sahelian revolution, but we continue the conversation. For now, goodbye until we converge again to continue the conversation.